my next guest is Alfio Bastiancich, and we'll talk about the animation, not just the festival, but about the animation as a whole. I would like to start with a question that is kind of strange to give it to an animation critic, but what was your first contact with the animation? Do you remember that?
In my opinion, the most important aspect is that the animator, the attitude of animator in front of the film. The animator must understand the essence of the language of the cinema, because he works between one image and the other. So this is one of the most interesting aspects. The other is the way of doing, the variety of technique that you have in animation. You have for everything you want to say, you have one technique who is the best for saying this. So this attitude, open-minded, that an animator must have is important for me.
Why strictly this field of animation? You're interested in Bruno Bozzetti artwork, so why him?
Bozzetto is one of the most important authors in the history of animation because of his attitude of thinking about the film and not only one of the aspects of the film. He don't think about the graphic. He's not interested about the quality of the graphic or about the quality of the animation. He's interested to saying something to the people and to doing this in the best way. He's interested in the soundtrack, for example. He thinks that the soundtrack is the 50% of the film, and I agree with him. He's interested in doing something in animation which is not possible to do in live action. So it is an attitude that, in my opinion, is the same attitude of the great master like Norman McLaren or other, but also of Disney or John Lasseter. This is why when last year Bruno Bozzetto went to visit, invited by John Lasseter to visit the Pixar. John Lasseter introduced him as one of the most interesting inspirator in the world of animation for him.
Okay, but taking it from this place, what do you think that changed in the world of animation as a person that is scoping this field of artistic expression? Could you tell me, us actually, something about the changes that have been in animation, from your opinion?
The last 20 years in the world of animation has been very important because, as Alexeyev said, now animation is free to express all the potential of the language without any problem. Since the starting of the 19th of the last century, animation were blocked in the technical problem. Doing a film, it was long and expensive. Today, Bruno Bozzetto, but all the other authors, the student, you can do your film at home without nothing, with a computer and software. So it is important what you want to say with the film.
So you're saying that all the changes that happens are made by the technological progress or by the set of mind? What's most
First of all, the technological. It is important to give to the young generation today is too much easy to do film, not only animation, also live action. So as usual, when you are free, you must study more than before. Study about your film, the film you are doing, but also study the history, watching film, thinking about the past generation is doing. So, in my opinion, today is easy to do film, but is more difficult to do good film.
Good conclusion, I must say. What do you think is the biggest problem for people, for young people that are starting their careers at the animation? What are the biggest problems from the opinion of a critic and a person that see lots of animation during the year? What are the biggest threats and problems for the young people?
Now I talk not as a critic but as a producer and teacher. One of the most important problems for us in Italy, but it's the same in France, in Germany, everywhere, in Poland, when we teach animation, is to give the possibility to give to the student all the information about their future work. And all the information means that they can do everything in animation. They can become author of advertising or creator of installation or author of television series or internet series or feature film or personal film independent. So we must think about all this possibility, and the student or the young filmmaker must find his way of doing and his position in this art and industry. We must remember that animation is both. It's an industry. You can work in a studio with 200 people and you are a part of a big work with a budget of millions of euros, or you can do your own film in the evening and the night in your room. This is why the most important thing for the young animator is to know the language, and the language means all the possibility that the language of animation gives you, and you can choose where to work and to find your position, and to know, of course, the history of the great masters.
Are there any golden advice that you can give to them besides this one that you just said? Maybe about the workshop that they should do, because from the other talks we have a conclusion that many people are impatient. Animation is a field of artistic expression that demands from the artist a great patience, especially at the beginning. When we have all the equipment, we have cameras, and as I said, low budget cameras. Even with a low budget, we can afford good equipment. Post-production is much faster than it was 20 years ago, and even 10 years ago.
Yes.
So, is there anything that you can say to people that are thinking about starting animation about the workshop? Any advice?
In my opinion, you are talking about the workshop in general, or?
I'm thinking about because lots of people thinking that the movie doesn't demand from them to have a plastic, artistic look. They just make an animation. They're thinking about the commercial animation. It's very fancy and have lots of effects and other stuff. Don't think about the story, as you said, about the language.
Yes.
So in our workshop, should people, even if they are involved in 3D animation, should they still focus on drawing, painting, trying other techniques before starting the using those new arts, new age new technology stuff, or should they? And what we should say to them?
I think that it is the most important aspect is to remind to the young people that they are doing a film, and they are obliged to talk to the people, and doing a film, live action or animation, it means organize a narration, to organize a sentence, and to think about the language, not the language of animation, not only, but also the language of cinema, the cutting, the way of putting the camera. Also in animation, you put the camera in. You can put the camera in one way or in the other. It is not the camera that you put, but is your drawing or your puppet. So, first of all, they must learn the language of cinema, and then the language of animation. In our school, we do. When they arrive in the first day, we do workshop on documentaries, live action. They go outside and they work with the camera. They must learn the language of live action cinema, television. The one today, camera. Today we speak about cinema, but is the visual, the language. But another aspect is the writing. The writing is important as the image in the, and there is one of the aspects of doing animation, but also cinema, is a moral attitude in front of the public. You have to consider that you do the choice of a film of 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 70 minutes, but you have a responsibility in front of the people who watch your film. So you have to say to them something, and you have to say it in the best way.
We just talk about the money, so this brings us to another question. Is there a place for animation, the artistic animation, in a commercial world?
This is a big problem because for the independent animation and for the experimental animation. For all my life, I tried to find a solution for the distribution of the independent animation, of the short film. I used to do, and I am also today trying to do for the Italian television a program of animated shorts during the evening, because this is another aspect. Animation is adult, is not only for children. And I used to do a program with 10 years ago. It was in the first channel of RAI, of the Italian public television, and in the 11 of the evening, and it's run very well. the people was the audience was high, because the people is interested to watch something who is interesting. Today is more easy. We have internet. We have many possibilities. But in my opinion, to organize a program in every country devoted to animation, to adult animation in television is still important today, like in the past.
So there is a chance for animation to go.
Yes, and there is also the word of the art gallery, who is very interesting in my opinion, because we have many in Italy, but also in other countries, many art galleries who are interested in animation, in the film, but also in the material, in the drawing and in material with which the animator do the film.
So in Poland, for example, lots of people that are involved in animation and try to make some money out of it usually are forced to do animation that is based on the opinion and artistic, I may say, expression of the client, not of the. Is there any solution for that? For people who want to do an artistic animation in this commercial space, should it be involved with education of people, or should be? Is there anything that can be done in this area?
There's many people who have done a lot of money with animation.
But most of it is the animation that is. I'm not talking about the animation like Coca-Cola or
Yes.
the big companies.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about the smaller one, because the big companies always are afford to
Yes.
spend money on animation.
Yeah.
If it's not spent some
Yeah.
profits, just spreading the idea
Yes.
of artistic expression. But there are problems with smaller companies that are smaller studios, animation studios. There was this animation studio in Poznań, and it was closed years ago because of they got out of budget. Because when we're thinking about the animation, we're thinking about film for kids, most of
Yes.
it, or the commercial use of the animation.
Yes.
No one really thinks about the animation as artistic expression or artistic film that brings something like the action films, and maybe in Japan, for
Yes.
example, where the animation have a special place. But
Yes, you know, it's depend of the attitude of the author or of the studio. Because when you have one studio, you have the responsibility usually of salary, of usually a lot of people, 10, 12, 15, 100, 1,000, depend of the dimension of the studio. Of course, when you go from the art to the industry, you have to know you must have a knowledge of many other aspects who are not connected with the animation, but who are connected with all other industrial activity, banks, funding, co-production, and salary, and everything. But this is the same problem in all the activity who became industrial. If you want to be an author who do advertising or his personal film, exhibition in art gallery and everything, you can manage easily this your activity. We have some young authors in Italy. They work for publicity, for commissioned film. they do exhibition in art gallery. So you can, it's dependent of the attitude and of the choice of the young filmmaker.
So, the last question. How do you think the animation will evolve in the next few years? From your opinion, from what you see and from your experience, what's gonna change? Are we gonna go back to retro or more handmade animation, or we just go to full 3D, HD, 4K and everything else?
No, of the technological point of view, the moment, of course, is very interesting, not only for the production aspect, but also for the distribution aspect. One of our young authors, he do 6 months ago a short film, and in 1 week in YouTube he has 3 million viewers. So it is fantastic, this opportunity today. It's wonderful. I think, and about the question of the 2D and 3D, today we have the opportunity of doing also 3D in a very interesting way. In this moment I am producing a television series of 52 episodes with the graphic of one Italian artist very well known in the world in the field of art. It is his first activity in animation, and we are trying to do a 3D who is a mixture between 2D and 3D, and it is possible, and it is a co-production between Italy, Ireland and Belgium. And we are doing everything on the meeting and everything by Skype, and we send the material through the web. So there are a lot of interesting opportunity in this moment.
Thank you very much for the interview.
Thank you to you.